is Kelly Davis, your host of the Untold Miracles podcast, and today is a very special episode because we are live from Seacrest Studios in Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt with a country singer, songwriter, Grammy nominee who has written 11 number one hits and who just celebrated his 9th number one solo artist hit, Love You Too Late. Not only is he incredibly talented, but what I really admire about him is he has a heart of gold. Mr. Cole Swindell, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I wouldn't be anywhere else. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I just really want to thank you for your support of Children's Miracle Network hospitals because you've visited several of our hospitals in Dallas, in Charlotte, in Nashville, and you've even had one of our Miracle Kids on your tour bus. Angelica Hell was singing for you. And I just want to thank you so much for your heart for helping kids.
You know, when you get a chance to, spend time with these kids, I mean, it really does. It changes you for the better. And I know, how fortunate I am to be doing what I love. And Angelica's a special girl, just like all these kids here are all special.
Well, on this podcast, we talk about miracles. And these last 5 years of your life have been pretty miraculous since you released your debut single. I want to go back, though, to when you were a kid growing up in Georgia, in Brownwood. What were your dreams about music?
Yeah, I always loved music. I remember, going back to my first concert my grandparents took me to was Randy Travis. And I always loved all kinds of music. Country music's what I loved, but I always dreamed of playing sports, baseball, and every sport I could. And, that just shows you never know where your path's going to take you. And I'm sure glad that I'm doing music instead of that because I don't think I'd have made it as far playing sports.
What a lot of people might not know about you is when you moved to Nashville in 2007, you were selling merchandise for a guy named Luke Bryan for a couple of years. Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, Luke, I met him. He had already moved to Nashville. Funny thing is we're from pretty much the same part of Georgia, like 15 minutes apart, but just a couple of years apart. So I never met him until I was already in college at Georgia Southern University in Statesboro. And he had been up in Nashville. He had come back down to the college town to play a show, and I ended up meeting him and just a huge fan of his music. And I remember he was the one that played me something he had written and really lit a fire under me to want to write my own songs. And so I got to Nashville, needed a job to pay rent, and he happened to need a guy to sell his T-shirts. So he was like, just come out one weekend and try it. And I was out there for 3 years. I didn't come off the road for 3 years, but looking back, I don't know that I'd be here without Luke and those that experience selling T-shirts. So it's not too bad to do that for a guy like Luke. He's an incredible entertainer, singer, songwriter, but just a great guy.
What's insane is you have 11 number one hits that you've written. How did you get the confidence to just pick up that pen and write it down? How does that process happen?
It's not easy. Like I said, it takes a lot to even get up and sing in front of folks. For me, back when I started in college, but it's a different story when you're singing something you've written. You're putting yourself out there, and trust me, they didn't all go number one. I might have 11, but I've got 1,100 that aren't that good. So it's just keeping at it and believing in it. And it's like I said, it doesn't help. You start having a couple fans, and you just it helps a lot with the motivation and just the confidence, because that's the hard thing to do when you didn't grow up singing your entire life. Right. You kind of started, you fell in love with music, but like I said, I'm so blessed to be doing what I'm doing. I know that.
Before you started headlining your own tours, you were touring with Luke and Jason Aldean and Kenny Chesney. What did you learn from them that has helped you the most be a headliner today? A
lot of that is, they're all great entertainers, all entertainers of the year, which is something I look forward to. We've got a long way to go, but that's a dream of mine. But to me, it was how they treated their people, and not just the people that work for them, their fans, the kids, whoever it is around them. We were all those kids at some point in our lives, and to see people I've looked up to, their music, and leave the tour becoming, a bigger fan of who they are than their music. That says a lot about them as people. And I think, there's a lot of things bigger than music. Me being here today, this place, this is a lot bigger than that. And those guys are bigger than the music too.
Last night, your Atlanta Falcons beat the Saints.
I don't know how that happened. I'm sorry. I love you, Falcons, but it's been I don't know. I understand. That's why you play the game, I guess. We're having a pretty off year, but that's how good I thought we were going to be all year. But that just shows you, being a sports fan, hey, but you got to love them when they're bad too, if you're a real fan. And I'm a big Falcons fan. And also, see, she's got on the Titans. That was a heck of a game against the Chiefs. So it was a good day for football.
I know on your Instagram you have some really fun photos of you with Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about your golf game.
Oh, like I said, I'm glad I'm writing songs and singing for a living, but I do. Golf is something my dad taught me to play at a young age and always told me, hopefully this will be something you can play as long as you're around. It's a little less contact than football and all that stuff, but to me, it's not bad. It's nowhere near, obviously, Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler and them, but that's why we all do what we're good at, no matter what that is, and just to be around those kind of people, and to me, it's who they are, and those guys were down to earth. And I think once you meet people like that, whether it be them or somebody like Peyton Manning, and you see how down to earth they don't have to be like that, but they are. They're just good people. I mean, that's motivating to me to just want to be a good person, be a better person, and I think you can do both. That's something I've learned from all those guys.
We are in Seacrest Studios, as I mentioned before. We have a lot of amazing kiddos around us, and say some of these kids have a dream to be a country music artist. What advice would you give them or their families as far as pursuing their dreams in country music?
Keep listening to it. When I was y'all's age, riding around with my mom, I used to just turn up country music radio, and little did I know I'd be here. But mainly just don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Me coming from a little small town, I remember when I moved to Nashville, even if they didn't say it to me, I could just tell that they thought I was kind of like, what are you doing? That's kind of a crazy dream, but there's no dream. I am living proof of there's no dream too crazy to chase. And if you love music, that's a special thing. I know what that's like, and I know how music has helped me through my whole life. And now to be on the other side of that, to be writing songs and singing them and helping other people, that's what it's all about. So I would tell y'all to keep dreaming, and you can do it. I promise you. If I can do it, anybody can. So.
Cole, what would you say has been the biggest miracle in your life?
Other than having a family that raised me as good as those folks. Some of them are still around, some of them aren't. I love them all to death. Probably just my biggest miracle would be the chance to move to Nashville, the chance to write songs. As I just touched on, I think for me to come from being inspired and being helped, no matter what age I was, there was always music that kind of helped me through. If I was having a tough time, whatever it is, and now to be on the other side, I'd say that was just something that was meant to be. I know what it's like to be a fan of music, and now to have a few of my own, it's I'd say that's a pretty big miracle.
What life motto do you like to live by?
Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's always the golden rule. I've always tried to live by that, and I think, like I said, my whole story, the way I came up through it, I think it was all for a reason. I think I know what it's like to be a fan of sports, of music, and all, and now to do that. You gotta, like I said, I was these kids' age at some point, and so that's why it's so important to me to give back and to be the best person I can be, because I wouldn't be here without a lot of people I've looked up to.
Right. Well, we are surrounded by some really cute kiddos who are going to ask you some questions on this podcast, and we are going to start with Chase. So, Chase, are you ready for the first question?
Do you have any pets?
Chase, not currently. I travel so much. That's something I've thought about, but, having a pet, that's a big responsibility. And although there's times I get lonely, I wish I had a pet. It's something I'm looking into. How about you?
I have 2 dogs.
Well, maybe I'll just come play with yours sometime.
We have Honey and Teddy.
Honey and Teddy, I love that.
Okay, our next question is from Kennedy.
Do you have any hidden talents?
Any hidden talents? Something that a lot of people don't know about me. When I was a kid, I might have mentioned it earlier, but other than sports, I love to draw and draw pictures, paint. I remember, I wish I could get back to some of that, because that's something I loved as a kid. I don't think a lot of people know that I like to draw.
I think you might be understating your talent with being an artist.
Oh, well, I remember drawing. We talked about Luke. I remember before I ever moved to Nashville, his debut album came out in 2007, the year before I moved, or that year I moved, and I remember drawing a picture of his album cover. And as a gift, looking back, I don't know why I did that, but it was just something I was always into, was art. And I don't know. Being an artist, whether you're singing or songwriting or drawing pictures, whatever, I think it's all about creativity. And I'm glad I did everything as a kid. I finally found what I was supposed to be here for. So.
Okay, Chase, are you ready for the next question?
So what's your favorite country music artist?
Ooh, love all of them, but growing up, it was George Strait. He's obviously a huge favorite of mine, but walking through the hall out here, I saw a star with Dierks Bentley's name on it. And Dierks, when I was in college, his first album came out, and he's one of the few that made me want to write my own songs and record them. And now. I've been on tour with him, recorded a song with him, and the stuff like that. That goes back to the miracle. To me, that's another miracle. So there's too many to name, but I'll go with Dierks on that.
I hear that you are in Dierks' phone as Coal. Is that true?
That is very true. That I met him back. That's when I was doing merch for Luke, selling his T-shirts. We went on tour with Dierks Bentley, and got to know each other. I was the T-shirt guy. He treated me just like I was on stage with him, and that just says a lot about who he is. But I remember him getting my number, and I don't know what made him spell it like that. But once he realized that's not how you spell his name, he kept it like that because that's how Dierks is. He wants to remember when he met me, and that's such a cool story. I'm glad you brought that up. He can put me as Coal in his phone all he wants to. I'm cool with that, as long as I'm in his phone. So.
Okay, Kennedy has another question.
What is your favorite song to perform?
Oh, y'all got some tough questions. I have multiple answers for all these, but for me right now, I'm going to go with my song that kind of got it all started. It's called "Chillin' It," and it's just a fun, lighthearted song that always, hopefully, it puts a smile on everybody's face. And to me, it kind of takes me back to what got me started. So, "Chillin' It" is my answer for that.
Okay, we have another question from Chase.
What you got, big man?
What's your favorite city to perform in?
I got to go Nashville, Tennessee on that, but yeah, anywhere where y'all are. But other than in Nashville, it's tough. I mean, Chicago, Boston, and Houston. I love a lot of cities, but Nashville is the city I moved to chase this dream. So I'm sticking to the hometown on that.
I want to ask this next question. I want to know your favorite song of your 11 number one hits.
I'll go with "Middle of a Memory," one of my favorites, and there's a couple more but it's just hard to pick one. I love them all, but for me, I think "Middle of a Memory" was kind of a turning point for me, and that's a lot of the fans' favorite ones. Every time that first guitar lick comes on in the live shows, everybody screams, and it's I think it's some of their favorites too.
Well, I just have to share a story about that. A couple years ago, I was with you at the Miss America pageant, and you were a judge. And one of our miracle kids, Angelica Hale, who received a kidney transplant from her mom, she learned that song, and she was able to perform that for you, I think, on the red carpet.
Yep.
And that was a really special moment. I know you shared that with your fans. It got like 1 million views.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's my favorite song as well. And I really appreciate you taking the time with her that day and you being here today, because there's a lot of things going on this week with CMA Week. And
Absolutely.
For you to want to be here with these kids, that just showcases who you are. And we're so grateful for your support.
Absolutely. I'll never forget that moment. And, not just people like me or Luke or whoever we've been talking about, but to have kids like Angelica that are special. I mean, that's something all kids can look up to. And I remember when no joke, when she sang that, I had chills. I was blown away and just so talented. And her personality, everything about her, just we all need to try to be more like. So that was a special moment.
Well, we have another question from Keely.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh. Let's see here.
And we know it's Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ben and Jerry's. Red velvet cake. Ben and Jerry's is. But that's hard. Y'all are asking me all these hard. I don't think I can pick just one. But I'm going with red velvet because that's the one that I always go back to. So I'm going with that.
What is your favorite sport to watch and play?
To play, it's gonna have to be golf because that's about the only one I still play. But to watch, depends on what season's in. Right now it's football. Obviously, I love watching that. But then, I'm being a Georgia boy. I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan, a huge Atlanta Falcons fan. So I'm going to go with baseball, football. But then to play would be golf.
This last question, and I ask it to all of our guests on the podcast. If there were 3 miracles that you could create in the world today, what would that look like for you?
No more sickness. That'd be one. I think it'd be a miracle for, like I said earlier, for everybody to treat others the way they wanted to be treated. I think that would solve a lot of problems, and hey, we could all live forever.
I like that. Well, you are about to do another tour, and you are kicking it off a 14-date tour on March 3rd in Toledo, Ohio. Can you tell us about that tour? Yeah,
this is that's how we're kind of kicking off 2020. I'm going out headlining a tour. I'm taking a good buddy of mine named Hardy, him and a guy named Trey Landon out with me. I'm just looking forward to it, taking 2 newer guys out with me because you mentioned earlier all the guys that have taken me out on tour, and it's I know how much that helped my career, and for me, being in a position where I can, help other people out now, whether it's on stage, off stage, I'm a fan of their music. I'm not just bringing them out to help. I actually love what they do. So I think they're just a great addition to the Down to Earth tour. And yeah, if you're listening and we're coming anywhere around you, please come out. It's going to be a good year, and that's the way we're kicking it off. So.
Where can people follow you to learn more about you?
Yeah, at Cole Swindell. That's ColeSwindell, and at Cole Swindell on Instagram as well. So pretty much just the at, and then spell my name right, and you're in business. So follow me and keep up, and we'll hopefully be around your area soon.
Congratulations on this amazing last 5 years of your life. I know you're going to continue to do amazing, incredible things, and just be a person that's creating miracles for those around you. And thank you so much, and we really appreciate your time today.
Hey, well, I'm always here for y'all, so thank you for showing up. Thanks for letting me hang out. Chase, everybody for the questions. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks so much for listening to the Untold Miracles podcast. We are so grateful for your support of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. If you like the episode, we would love it if you would go to iTunes, leave a review, and subscribe. You can also go to Facebook and follow us at Untold Miracles. We would love your personal story of miracles in your life, or you can find us on Instagram at Untold Miracles Podcast. Thank you again for all you do to create miracles in the world. And if you want to help a sick kid in your area, you can go to cmnhospitals.org and donate $1, $5, $10. It all helps create miracles in the life of a sick child. Thank you.